I just bought a whole bunch of really cute socks for my cute daughter, my far off, distant, cute daughter. I don't know if I should go through the whole pile of socks here. I was going to put these in a package and send, oh, look at that, robot. Yeah, it's cute. Some of them are more girly than others, don't get me wrong. Yeah, this one has little ears. This brand is made in Taiwan. I think all of these are made in Taiwan, not made in Communist China, but look, little ears on top. Yeah. Various sorts of animals and funny patterns and pictures. I'm going to put that in a box. Other more expensive gifts, I'm going to do the 21st century thing and order on the internet and have shipped to her directly. But you know, there's a concern. There's a real cloud hanging over this whole question of whether or not my daughter will ever see these gifts, whether or not she will ever be able to play with them. Because to my knowledge, and this has been a problem for several years now, my ex-wife seems to be making an effort to delete me from my daughter's life. She seems to be making an effort to separate my daughter from gifts that I've given her in the past. We talked about this with my daughter over several trips. I'll let you hear my daughter's voice in the matter right now.
I find that very strange. So she won't let you play with the toys?
Yeah, I only get to play with my other game toys. Because Lulu gave me a present, and
Right.
I want to keep presents, you see?
Right. So she'll let you play with the toys that Lulu gives you, and she lets you play with toys that maybe Nicola gives you. But all of the
but
toys...
she doesn't let me play with toys that you give me. I don't know why.
It's very strange.
Yeah, she hides them.
She hides them. It's so strange. So also, she tries to give them back to me. It doesn't make sense. You know, like the big house made of plastic for Peppa Pig, right?
Yeah, but she doesn't really like plastic.
Well, okay.
She should give me so much plastic toys.
Well, not all the toys, but so this is not plastic, right? And the piano, right? I mean, you have, look at all the toys we have here. This is made of wood.
Yeah, but plastic goes inside the seal, so you know that. It also hurts the fish.
Okay, but, you know, and here, this is not plastic. All of these dodos. So what about, doo-doos, right? That's what you call them. But, you know, the cuddly toys I give you and stuff. So if I give you these cuddly toys, you won't be able to play with them.
Yeah, because
she'll hide them away.
She doesn't want you to give me doo-doos.
But this was all made of wood. This isn't plastic, you know. So many of the toys are not plastic. That's not the reason. So it's very sad,
yeah,
but I guess...
you know what? She doesn't really want you to give me doo-doos because, well, you know what? I only have too much doo-doos.
All right, so I had several conversations with my daughter about this over several years. And you heard her there proposing the idea that maybe the toys were being taken away for ecological reasons because she shouldn't be playing with plastic. We were there surrounded by these piles and piles of toys. For a period of about 2 years, most of the toys I gave to her in person. And then she basically never saw them again. And one of the toys that was mentioned there, the big dollhouse, there was a little bit of an epic story about where she told me that her mother took this away and she fought a battle with her mother to try to get the toy back because she loved that dollhouse so much. She had a bunch of matching toys that she could play with in that dollhouse. So where she was struggling with her mother to keep some of the toys that she remembered from her time with me. And some of the toys, you know, like they kind of came up in conversation. It was like, well, why did you never see that toy again after we gave that to you, you know, sometimes like a year earlier or something? Why did it disappear? And then this is ultimately the kind of explanation that I get from her. Now, there is a footnote here. Sometimes little kids lie to you intentionally, and sometimes little kids make up stories that aren't really a lie, but also aren't really true. There was one trip we had with my daughter where we gave her chocolate-covered bananas twice. So during the whole vacation, she twice had a chocolate-covered banana. We're vegan, so the chocolate had no dairy in it, so it's a nice vegan treat you can give a kid. And also, it's mostly banana. It's this thin layer of chocolate. Pretty healthy as kids' desserts go. And when she went back to her mom's place, when she went back to see my ex-wife, she told her mom triumphantly, oh, you know, when I'm with my dad, I get to eat chocolate-covered bananas every day. And so she only had them twice. So kids will lie that way. This particular kid, my daughter, she will lie in a self-serving way like this. She'll lie when it's so that she can have a chocolate banana. She'll lie and tell you that she brushed her teeth. No. She'll tell you that she will brush her teeth, and then she won't do it. She never lied to me, past tense, about already having brushed her teeth. So, it's possible that these are lies, but I've got to tell you, having talked about it with my daughter over a long time, I'm sorry to say, my impression is that my ex-wife is not letting my daughter play with any toys that remind her of me, that bring up my name. The last time we saw my daughter, she was explaining to us that her mom was trying to force her to use a different name, a different first name, and also a different last name. Her mom was trying to coach her that she was starting a new life with a new father, and she was also trying to coach my daughter into adopting a new nationality. She was telling my daughter that she was going to become Bulgarian with this Bulgarian name. The name sounds the same as a Russian name, in case you're using your imagination here. But both a different first name and a different last name, and a new father and a new nationality. So some of you might remember I had a video with my daughter talking to her about her Jewish heritage. She has Jewish heritage on both sides, guys. In case you didn't know, I am half Jewish. My ex-wife is also half Jewish. So the daughter we had together, do the math, is also half Jewish. And it was like, look, kid, you've been born with a whole lot of advantages in life. Being Bulgarian is not one of them. And when you get to Bulgaria, when you start living under this Bulgarian name in a Bulgarian place, one of the biggest issues is going to be anti-Semitism, because Bulgaria is an intensely anti-Semitic country. And, people there are not going to regard or embrace my daughter as Bulgarian. Indeed, my daughter would probably have an easier time being embraced by the North African community as North African, even though she is only to a tiny extent, only has a tiny percentage of North African ancestry. Still, very, very warm, very accepting community that. Or they're desperate to identify people as as sharing their line or sharing their historical struggle. Anyway, that's been my experience, is that people are very eager to identify her as African on the basis of that tiny bit of her ancestry. But hey, maybe I wouldn't mind if she were getting back in touch with her African roots. How this Bulgarian roots thing is going to work out, I don't know. Look, guys, I got sympathy for the devil. I have sympathy for the other side of this equation. I imagine my ex-wife's life as really being quite a difficult struggle. And it's so difficult because she made decisions that made it difficult for her herself. When we split up, I was willing to live anywhere in the world to do co-parenting. I could have lived in Europe. I could have lived here in Asia. I could have lived in North America. My ex-wife is a citizen of the United States of America. And at the time we split up, the plan was that we would both continue studying Chinese, that I would learn Chinese, my ex-wife would continue to improve her Chinese. My ex-wife was most likely going to move to either New York or Seattle. If my ex-wife lived in New York, then I would live just up the road in Montreal. You may not know this, it's very quick to get back and forth through Montreal and New York. If my ex-wife had moved to Seattle, which she favored, she liked the idea of living in the Pacific Northwest. If she moved to Seattle or somewhere thereabouts, I would live in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, which is where I ended up living, right? The idea being I would be not too close and not too far away, and we could do as much co-parenting or as little as she was comfortable with. My ex-wife had a PhD, from an elite university in Europe. She had an academic career ahead of her if she wanted it, and she could have really used someone, even if it was just as a babysitter, to come in and take the share of co-parenting to help financially, yes, but above all else in terms of labor and helping to raise the kid. My ex-wife slammed the door resolutely against every plan. She has a new husband now. She has a new baby with that husband now. She is probably saying and doing all kinds of things to try to satisfy that new husband, including assuring him that she's going to raise her first kid, my daughter, with a Bulgarian name and a Bulgarian identity, and that they're going to get rid of all the toys that I gave her and that remind her of me. You know what? I can sympathize. I can say that she is making the wrong decision while recognizing that it was within her rights to make that decision. But I just make this video now reflecting. It puts me in a very sad situation every time I send my daughter presents, with the awareness that most likely my daughter will never see those presents at all, or she'll see them once and then they'll disappear. And moreover, that my ex-wife is actively engaged in a project to delete the memory of me from my daughter's life, to delete my identity from hers. Well, guess what? It won't work. Kids grow up, and my daughter is simply too smart for that bullshit. And it doesn't matter if she figures it out when she's 12 years old, or when she's 14 years old, or when she's 16 years old. And it doesn't even matter if I get hit by a bus and die tomorrow, because this YouTube channel is going to be here for her to discover. And guess what? She's going to figure out who did what in this divorce. She's going to figure out her real identity, who her real father is. And I have to focus my energy on making the positive change, the positive difference that I can in the world. Because I don't want to be somebody that she's going to be ashamed to discover was her father. I hope that she's going to be excited and interested and proud when she finds out that I'm her father. She's certainly got a lot of advantages she's inherited from my side of the family. The resemblance between us is all the more striking because I've spent so little time with her. I only get to see her when the French court system forces my ex-wife to let me spend time with her. So it's not like she's picking up, my mannerisms or something from spending time with me, all right? That kid has inherited a lot of her qualities from me, and she'll be able to recognize that herself. And you know what? The story my ex-wife is telling her, my ex-wife is only putting herself in a situation where it is inevitable that this kid is going to rebel against her, and this kid is going to resent having been deprived of the love and attention and time and care of a father who really did want to spend that quality time with her. Someone who wanted to spend that time and be part of her life and be co-parenting and be involved in her life from the first day until the last day. So yep, it's my ex-wife's decision to make, and I'm in a position to tell you she's making the wrong decision. If you're watching this, hon, socks are in the mail.